Hello, everyone. What is left behind is not always an object. As you all know by now, I once was a rideshare driver, drove many people to different places around the city of DFW and even past DFW. And in enough cases, I had clients that would get out of my vehicle and they would leave objects in their car, objects such as their driver's license, their medicine. Um, I also had some clients leave their wallet behind, their purse. So important things. But outside of those things, which are all important, they got all of their things back because I always did the righteous thing, make sure that they got it back. When they did not leave a physical object, they still left an object, which was something I was able to take with me. And what they left was a story. Some stories were positive, some stories were bad, some stories I understood, some stories I was like, that's a her problem or that's a him problem. And to my credit, I was doing my part. I didn't always have a solution. In fact, it wasn't even my responsibility to have a solution. But I did listen because that's just part of the human nature thing to do. And plus, I'm driving and I'm like, hey, everyone goes through something. Everyone knows mental health is a serious issue. And since they don't really know me at all, besides reading my rating, they hop in my vehicle, speak to them, and depending on the day of the week, people would be open to sharing it and just expressing themselves, which is always healthy. So when I would drop clients off and they didn't leave an object, they would leave a situation where I was like, hey, now this hasn't happened to me, but it can happen to me in the future. For example, I had a client that was late for her ride as I went to pick her up. As you know, depending on the app you use, you can give the client 5 minutes. And they were having such a hectic day, they thought they were fired. So they had to, they started walking to where, they needed to be. They had to go walk back to work, then walk back to me. Ended up being 10 minutes late. Did I leave them? No, I did not leave them. But as I was driving the client to where she needed to be, she was expressing how her job was in limbo due to the economy, due to her being um, a divorced woman who just got out of a marriage. She was paying alimony to the husband, and basically, money was tight. Because alimony is a bill, believe it or not. And once she got out of my vehicle for me getting her to her destination, I was like, wow, you know, I don't know what the future holds. That could be me one day, married, going through a divorce, having to pay alimony, and my job is considering letting me go, and I don't know. And we all know money has to continue to flow in. People lose their homes, people lose their vehicles. Hell, some people lose their mental health when money stops flowing in. Even businesses. In all of these examples, once the money stops flowing, it goes under. That's just what it is. So as I was driving myself to the next ride, I was just like, wow, I can never say never because, you know, I don't know what the future holds. I once used to say that could never be me. In this current time, I say it's possible. I just have to keep living. I don't know what the cards hold. Um, Another situation that I had, I picked up adolescent. Um, and when I got there, I thought I was just picking up a parent because on the app it just brought the parent up. The little adolescent got in my car, drove him home, and come to find out on the journey home, it led me to reminisce because he was sharing with me how he didn't really care for school. His main thing that he enjoyed about going to school was being able to see his friends and things of that nature. I just laughed and chuckled at that because it's a chance that may change. And though once I dropped him off, he didn't leave behind an object, but he did leave behind an impact that led me to reminiscing as I was leaving him and going to pick up another client. And that was that I did school, many years of it. There was times that I liked school, but then I did really like going to school because seeing friends, seeing cousins, because I went to school with some of my cousins and we would be on the bus and it was just different and fun for those times. And it's just get a man in the vehicle. I pick him up from the airport. He's coming in from Colorado. I'm driving him downtown Fort Worth. He starts telling me his situation with his baby mothers. But first off, he asked me if I had any kids because I had been working. I told him I was like driving at 7 hours at the current time. I had been on that for 7 hours. He was like, "Wow, you must be a single father." I was like, "Oh no, 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 no." His name was Timothy. I said, "No, Timothy, I don't have any kids." He was like, "Wow." He was a Caucasian brother, and he goes to share how he has like three different baby moms. One was Caucasian, one was black, and the other was Asian. He even told me, which I didn't know at the time, that he has to pay child support on his kids until they turn 21 because they're in Colorado. And he also shared with me, but that he didn't really want to be in any serious relationships. In fact, he traveled for work, and he said that's how he kind of had his shenanigans, rendezvous, situationships, whatever word you want to use, but that's how he was moving around. He was basically saying that he was burnt out from each individual relationships and that the money he had to kick out for child support for all three children were affecting his bottom line. And then he said that's why he worked so hard to make more money and so on and so on. And I was like, interesting. So once I dropped him off downtown to the Hyatt in Fort Worth and I continued on, I thought, though I don't have any kids, that could have easily been me. Easily been me, agitated. Because we know kids cost. And, people want to go these certain ways at times. So I was just like, wow. It's like, again, I don't know what the future holds. I'm accountable with my actions, as all people are, because in most instances, with Timothy, those women did not put a gun to his head and vice versa. No women put a gun to the baby mother's head and told him to mate with him and so on and so on. So such is life, but that just reiterated to me that you gotta know who you're dealing with. You gotta know who you're dealing with and have to make the right decisions. Even though sometimes it can be difficult to make the right one. As they say, hindsight is always 2020. And again, in none of these situations, there were no judgments. In none of these situations, these clients did not leave any physical objects behind. But on these rideshare journeys, they did leave me with good information, information that could help any woman, help any man. And it can just open up one's mind. even if that's not their situation, even if they want to use that word that the elders told me I should never use, which is never, never, never. It was just eventful. It was fun, and I've always and still am appreciative for those different experiences, even though people did not leave objects in my car as far as physical objects. They left an impact on me from a mental standpoint that to this day it keeps me balanced. So yeah, like, share, and subscribe. Anyone that has done rideshare in any capacity, again, any capacity. When I say capacity, I mean if you still drive for rideshare, leave a comment. If you're a person who do not drive rideshare, but you take rideshare because you don't want to own a vehicle, or you own a vehicle and it's sitting in the yard or sitting in the shop, or your license got suspended, leave a comment. Tell a friend, tell a family member. In fact, tell an enemy, because most people have enemies. Tell an enemy. And if you tell an enemy, the enemy may no longer be your enemy. It may become your associate, your friend, or even your lover. Yeah, I just wanted to bring you all this today. You all continue to have a good day, and I'll talk to you all later. Peace.